Teresa, you might start, please.
Well, I'm really amazed at how balanced that all is, 30%. No one wants to be a mediator. So this idea of prioritized strategic autonomy, I would say maybe we should call it strategic responsibility. This idea of just, if you look at French defense spending, the more they talk about strategic autonomy, the more defense spending goes down. So it's kind of a paradox. And I would like to know if does NATO fit into all this, or is NATO going to be a husk and not exist anymore if they want strategic autonomy without spending on defense? That would be a good question. But I noticed one thing on all three of us. You mentioned complacency since 1945. You talked about the geopolitical vacation. I can't believe they're not drinking rosé, but white wine. And the holiday from history, which is what I said. So I think everyone agrees that there's been a level of complacency. You would put it all the way back to post-war, but I would say that 1989, with the fall of the wall, we also forget what happened on the other side of the earth. Tiananmen Square. So that was a year of, more strengthening of an authoritarian regime. They didn't forget history. They kept working and they had a strategy and a big plan, and everyone else was, drinking their wine at the beach, and I think that now it's caught up with them. So I think that I've heard this so many times from people, we should no longer be naive about China, but I think that there is this willingness, the Chinese have a saying, you can't wake up someone who pretends to be asleep. So the fact that, after almost 3 years of China supporting Russia, this war would have been over if China was not supporting Russia, not buying their oil, not sending dual-use goods, not sending lethal weapons like drones. Even yesterday, Annalena Baerbock announced that she agrees that they are selling lethal weapons. So to flirt with them and think of them as a hedge against a Trump administration, as was done in 2016 when he won at the Munich Security Conference, this idea was like, we don't like Trump, so we're going to turn towards China. Are we going to see a repeat of that, really, after all of this? Are we going to have amnesia about China's support for Russia because of political ideas that the economy might not have peaked in China? I think the economic data is kind of showing that we're past peak China. China's in a very difficult situation. So I think that we need to have a better geopolitical picture and understand their options, which I don't think they have so many. There's a war in Ukraine.